Good to see you. I'm Nick from Define My Day, and I wanted to check in with everybody, see how you were doing. It's like a nice day today. It's kind of cool. Birds are chirping. People are outside walking their dogs already. Looking forward to getting out. We're gonna be putting together a basketball hoop for my boy. We picked one up yesterday, and it's funny because the dimensions on the website fit inside the back of our truck. But when we got there and put it in, it was like 3 inches too long. So we had to drive with the tailgate kind of unlatched, and we weren't prepared to have to tie it down. And the entire time, my youngest was having a panic attack, thinking that everything was going to fall out of the back of the truck. But we got home safely, and we're all set. But yeah, so we're gonna be putting his basketball hoop together today, and take those skills and inspiration he's my son's been getting from watching The Last Dance on ESPN. He's gonna take that out and see what he can do in the driveway. So looking forward to that. Hey, Livy. Hey, Jamie. Good to see you. Second day of rain, but better tomorrow. Yeah, we're supposed to get thunderstorms later today. I thought it was supposed to be a washout, and again, that's what I get for watching the weather. It's supposed to be a washout today, and now it looks like it's not going to rain at all today. In fact, it's going to be really nice. It might rain for about an hour this afternoon, but that's about it. So you can't make any plans based on a weather forecast. I mean, you just got to kind of wake up and do what you can. So I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna, clean out the garage a little bit more, do some things around the house outside. It'll be a fun day. Be a good day. Um, But yeah, yesterday we, because we were outside so much, got to meet some of the neighbors. I mowed my lawn for the first time. That was a fun experience. It was like so much nicer. It's all flat. It's perfect. Even my youngest, he's 6. Ryan was having a little bit of a meltdown. He got in an argument riding his bike with our older one, and so I just told him to come with me, and I let him hold the bar while I was pushing the lawnmower, and he loved it. It's weird how different boys, like my other one, would never want to do that, but he thought it was amazing to push the lawnmower with me for 10 minutes. So it was kind of nice. Weird how you find little moments like that with people. But yeah, we got to meet a lot of the neighbors. The neighbor right next door brought us over some homemade sourdough cinnamon rolls. Oh my god! Um, and we talked like everybody from all of the nearby houses came and stood in the street and distanced, but all talking about the neighborhood and how it's developed over the past couple of years and how it's kind of rolling in some new younger couples, and it's pretty interesting, pretty fun to witness. Really, it was mostly the women, so I kind of like stood back and listened. But it was nice. But these cinnamon rolls, freaking amazing. So we got 4, and because Nicholas is allergic to eggs, he wouldn't eat one. So I get 2, right? But I ate one yesterday, and I walked downstairs 7 in the morning, grabbed my coffee, heated one up in the microwave for 20 minutes, took it into the living room, put it down on my little table where I read and do my Define My Day, and I walked out of the room to get a glass of water, and I heard something, and I walked back in, and the cinnamon roll was face down on the floor. And so I took that as the universe telling me that I didn't need a second cinnamon roll. Uh, but they were good. And this woman she makes her own sourdough in the house. And she says it forces it to bake because she has to constantly keep feeding it and taking the stuff off. So it was pretty interesting. I learned a lot about sourdough. A friend of ours was telling us about it too. So pretty cool thing. So how are all you doing? We got Jamie in Minnesota. We have Angel. Good morning. Amy. Good morning. Beautiful day in Arizona. Awesome. Awesome. And then somebody in North Carolina. Hello. Unknown private person in the user group. Um, so yeah, we're doing some we're settling in. We're settling in. Real quick, get over to our meme. Betty White still hanging on. Hopefully, our national treasure, Betty White. Due to the coronavirus, Betty White has been placed inside a bank vault protected by Chuck Norris. She is safe. She is safe. Um, so it's funny. Last night, this neighborhood is funny. So Last night they had a fireworks competition. Apparently, I think it was impromptu. Somebody had a 10-year-old birthday party a couple doors up, and they had a ton of people there. And so they started lighting off mortars, which, if you don't know what they are, they're loud. They're loud when they go off, and they're loud when they're up there. Scared the crap out of my dog. But so they did theirs, and then somebody like a block over that direction lit off some, and then the neighbors directly behind us started lighting theirs off. And so for about 10 or 20 minutes, every couple of minutes, somebody would launch a firework. And so we had a little impromptu fireworks display. My kids loved it. Kids were loving it. But yeah, it was a pretty cool evening last night. We had a couple of beers, had a couple of White Claws, and relaxed. It's funny, my neighbor was grilling. We just met them. They're snowbirds, so they just got back from Florida, and he he was joking with me. He's like, "Man, you got a lot of projects." And I said, "Yeah, I do. Between the basketball hoop and all the other stuff we got going on." Um, and he says, "You got to have a beer." I said, "Oh, I'm going to have a beer later." So I'm in the back porch, and he yells over. He's like, "About time to have that beer." I said, "Right now, we're good to go." He's like, "Right on, man." So yeah, we much needed relaxation last night, and we found this place that we've been ordering food from. Uh, we were doing it the first week we were here because we didn't really have any food in the house, and I've not ordered out in a month, so we were dying for some takeout. And so this place is like I don't know if it's a gastropub, it's like a brewery or tap room, whatever you want to call it. And they have a smoker there, I guess, and they make their own smoked meats, and they make a Cuban sandwich that may be the best sandwich I've ever had in my life. My brother recommended it, so we ordered from there. And I've ordered this sandwich 3 times, and it is smoked pulled pork with ham, like you make a Reuben, or not a Reuben, but a Cuban. And there's pickles and some cheese on there, and it's on this flatbread, this amazing flatbread. And it's the best sandwich I have ever had, hands down. I crave it. I crave it. And they also make this steak sandwich that Lynn gets every time, and it's just made on this like pillowy soft white bread, and they put pepperoncinis in mixed in with the steak. It's just amazing, amazing. So I want to try to make one myself. At some point, I'll smoke some pork and get some ham and try to do it myself. But I think the key is the bread. You have to have good bread for a sandwich like that. But this place, we order from there maybe once a week now, and it's not expensive. It's like for 4 meals, it was like $40. So not bad at all. Very good food, and their burgers are like that. My kid likes their cheeseburgers; they're that big. In fact, we didn't get it. I don't know if they messed up the order or if Lynn forgot to order it when she called in. But so my kid was so upset he didn't get his burger last night. So we promised him we'd order it for him today. It saved me from having to cook. You know. Um, Interesting, Levi. Quarter cup of applesauce substitutes for 1 egg. So that's I have not heard that, and we've been creative in baking him some things. Like Lynn will bake him banana muffins and stuff. But I will have to look for. I'll have to try to start substituting applesauce for eggs. That would be really cool. He would love that. Love it. Mary from North Carolina. Good to see you. Oh, you have an egg allergy too. Dude, it's terrible. Egg allergies are the worst. Like I feel like you can stay away from nuts, right? Like, and it's so common that people are used to it. But egg allergies are terrible. We've been to so many restaurants, and he won't eat at restaurants anymore. He will sit and watch us eat, or we have to bring him food because so many times, nice restaurants, bad restaurant, it doesn't matter. Like you tell them he has an egg allergy, and they say, "Okay, it's okay, sure, we'll take care of it." And even the manager will come out and walk us through it. But then he gets some sort of cross contamination and gets sick. So he won't eat out anymore, and he won't eat anything that doesn't clearly state there's no eggs on the label. Like if it says processed in a facility or anything like that. He won't eat it. It's just kind of what we have to deal with. But it's a terrible, terrible thing. We noticed it when he was really, really young. He was like maybe a year old, and we gave him eggs, and he got sick. So it's a terrible allergy. Terrible. Eggs are in everything, everything. So there's so many things he wants that he can't have, and he sees other people eating, and he's just so jealous. Tamara, good coughing from Indiana. I know what you mean. Good morning. Good to see you. Tina, hi from Phoenix. We got two people from Arizona here. Good morning. I know what you meant. So we moved to just another area a little bit further south from Pittsburgh. It's just another area, a little bit better school district, and the goal for us was mainly a neighborhood. Our old neighborhood, we were the youngest by at least 15 years in the neighborhood, and there were no kids my son's age. And the street we were on was sort of a cut-through high-traffic street, and people, I mean, the speed limit was 15 miles an hour, and people routinely did over 30. Just not a safe place for them to go out and play. And our yard was really hilly, not many places they could go throw a ball, and we couldn't play with our dog. It was convenient to go to the city. And for us, when we first bought it, you could get downtown really fast and go to a nice restaurant. Even now with Uber, we can get downtown with an Uber for $15. It's just not good for kids. So we moved into this neighborhood now, and there's no reason for anybody to be on the street unless they live here. It's not a cul-de-sac, but it's low traffic. And everybody's just really friendly. And now we've gone from being the youngest in the neighborhood to skewing more towards being the oldest. There's still some older couples that live here that have been here for their entire lives. But for the most part, most people we've met have moved here within the past 5 years. And they all have kids that are our kids' age or younger. So it's a much different feel. And being a little bit older in the group is kind of odd. But it's nice, very family friendly. And our boys, like my boys have been riding their bikes daily to the point where like his legs are sore. And he has bruises all over his shins from hitting his legs on his pedals, and he's scraping his knees. Like all those things that kids do that I was doing when I was his age. And he just, he's just going through it now and experiencing it. It's pretty cool. Good morning from Minnesota. Taking a coffee break with me. Thank you. You're a contract sewing PPE. Very cool. Very cool. That's awesome. And I'm making you hungry. It's funny. I have so many things I'm craving right now. I'm actually starting my grocery list. I'm going to go out tomorrow. I'm going to go out early and try to get everything for the week. And I know I'm like all these. I'm thinking of all the things that I could possibly be making. I'm looking forward to I'm going to try to make another homemade pizza this week. I'm going to make a pulled pork over the weekend next week. So I'm trying to think of all of the things that I'm going to buy for tomorrow. And I'm writing it all down, and I'm going, "Ooh, that's going to be good. Ooh, that's going to be good." And it's like I'm so excited to be out there cooking on the back patio. Good morning, Carrie. Good to see you. Allergic to high fructose corn syrup. Well, it's a terrible thing to be allergic to because it's in everything. But it's so bad for everybody anyway. It's almost like it's like one of those things where, and I kind of look at that. I kind of try to look at the positive with my kid with eggs. Is that means he's not eating a lot of crappy baked goods, and he has this lean body where he has like a 4-pack, right? And I think that's a lot to do with because he's got to be so strict with what he can eat. He skews more towards vegetables and non-processed foods. Like he can't go out and eat a Twinkie, like he just can't eat stuff like that. And he's not used to eating it. So even if he could, it's still not something that's in his wheelhouse. So it's pretty positive for him in that way. And I think with high fructose corn syrup, I mean, it's bad for everybody. More bad for your daughter. And it probably helps her stay just a little bit healthier. Still awful to even think about that. And I've often even wondered myself, like there's been times I've had migraines and I'm wondering like, was it food coloring? Like what was that? What causes it? Because I can go a long time with never having a migraine, but then something triggers them and I have like a week of migraines. Yeah, good morning. Had to have your coffee. I've had my coffee. This is my third cup. I've been drinking a lot of coffee lately. Sue says, first time on here and I have your planner. Now what do I do? Hi, Sue. The first thing you should do is watch the walkthrough videos. You can watch them all through, or you could just take them one at a time. But the first thing I try to tell everybody is just start doing it. Like you set your time, set the day you want to start. You want to be your like anniversary, your weekly anniversary date. Set that day to start, and then just calendar in the 10 minutes that you're going to spend doing it every morning. And you want to walk through the process, right? This is a it's a growth experience. You're going to gain some awareness into where you want to spend your time, where you don't want to spend your time. Excuse me. And you just want to just kind of follow the process, get in the habit of following the process. We're trying to build more personal discipline, and you want to grow your awareness of where your time goes. Over time, you'll especially in the first couple of weeks, you really start to experience a difference in how you look at your day. And it's just about in the beginning, it's just about gaining momentum. You're kind of where you're at right now, whether you're overwhelmed or whether you're not really motivated, wherever you are. Just going through the process is just kind of, every day you're just going to learn a little bit more about yourself and where your focus goes. And it'll make a difference, but you got to stick with it. You got to do it every day. But if you have specific questions, certainly ask us. You can ask via the help icon on our website. You can ask in the user group. If you're not in the user group, join the user group. You should have an invite in your email, and all of these people that are on here can help immensely. The user group is so helpful for everyone in there. I'm really proud of the system we've built in there, and the people that are in there posting every day and commenting and giving advice and feedback. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Good morning from rainy Michigan. Hey, Laurie, how are you? Good to see you. Yep, rainy Michigan. A couple of Michiganders in there, huh? Grew up in the North Hills with so many kids the same age I was. Good memories. Yeah, so I grew up in the South Hills, and for anybody that doesn't know Pittsburgh, you're divided by rivers, and people don't cross the rivers. No bridges and tunnels. So if you live in the North Hills, you tend to stay there. If you live in the South Hills, you tend to stay there. But I grew up in a neighborhood like that too when I was a kid, and I really wanted to get back to that for my boys because they've never experienced it. They've been in the house so much playing video games because there's really nobody around them, and we'd have to drive them to go to places, and it's almost onerous, especially when you run a business. With both me and Lynn working, it's hard to set up times for them to get out to meet kids. Being in a neighborhood, we can just say, go outside. It's so much nicer. Good morning from the COVID Queen. I am at work getting it done in the microbiology lab and actually getting to catch today's session. My DMD journal is really getting me through this healthcare crisis. Awesome. I can't imagine how my life would be without this process to keep me on track at home. That is so cool. Thank you very much. I can't see who you are. I have a feeling I know who you are, but I can't see who you are specifically. But that's an awesome user statement there. I love it. I love it. And thanks for your good work. So Levi says, Sue, I found that going to the website on the first page and going through the steps, the step one video and at the time really helped me so much. Once I did, the most things finally made sense. Cool. Thank you much, Levi. Good morning from Ohio. Planting. Finished planting corn in the garden. Optimism is high. Julia, you just made me think about something. So I, 10 years ago, planted a gigantic garden at my old house. And I got it all to this. Corn was 6 feet high, and everything was really cool. Tomatoes, peppers, everything. And then a herd of deer came through and destroyed it. All the work, all the water, everything I put into it, gone. And I don't have any deer here. We have rabbits. We have a ton of rabbits, like rabbits and chipmunks everywhere. But I have not seen a deer yet. So I am very optimistic about a garden, and corn is something that I didn't think about. I may have to try to plant corn again. Not too much, but enough to have that one day where I can pick it and say, "Yeah, we got corn." Hey, Cathy, you finally caught us live. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Good to see you. Artificial sweeteners can often cause migraines or headaches. Yeah, and I try not to use anything. My coffee, I drink black. We have stevia in the house. I don't use it for too much, except when like baking or if something calls for sugar. But I try to steer away from any of that. Any of that. I know when my wife, who's actually she said she's gonna restart her beach body tomorrow. I have to set up her workout space in the garage today. When she was on her real clean eating kick, we started getting rid of all of that stuff. We got rid of all artificial stuff. Anything that was like more than a couple of ingredients, we stopped eating. And that we've now, especially now, we've kind of backed off of that a little bit, but we have to get back on board for sure. Good, Sue. Good. Um, Amy, I took notes as I watched the videos and then watched them over again. Yes, the user group is good. Those walkthrough videos we've had, I guess you can't make it perfect for everybody. We have some people that wish they had more examples in the videos. Other people just liked the conversation and found them useful. So, I think eventually we will maybe add more to the videos, the walkthrough videos, that give people a more detailed explanation with examples and things like that. We have to find somebody that can help us edit those videos, but I think they are very useful, and they're meant to be bite sized. So if you can do 10 minutes at a time or whatever, just do one every day or do a couple every day, and you'll kind of get through understanding what the process is supposed to be. Good morning from Monroeville. Awesome, Monroeville. So that's out east in Pittsburgh for people that don't know Pittsburgh, and we don't travel that way either. I think you're either south and west or north and east. It's funny. I know nothing about Monroeville except for the couple times I went to Sam's Club or some sort of a conference or something out that way. Never traveled to Monroeville. Yolanda, just new to the group and just received a journal on Friday. You're welcome. Thank you for your purchase. Thank you for joining us. Cannot wait to see how you do with it. It's very, very cool experience. Just stick with it. It gets hard. You go through this excitement phase for the first week or two where you're like, yeah, this is working, and you're excited to make a change. And you start, as things start happening, as things start improving, we start falling back on old habits. We start, not maybe we want more change up front, and we have to realize that these are small steps that happen on a daily basis, and you have to take that small daily step. We're not trying to make an immediate change where you're going to open the book and it's going to change your life. It's not magical that way. It's a matter of personal discipline, sticking with the process, creating new habits for yourself. And the book is only a tool. The book is just a tool for you to do that. It's all up here and in here how you go forward with the process. So stick with it. Understand that when you feel resistance, when you feel it's getting to be hard, that's your mind telling yourself that this is where I need to grow. This is me. Like when you wake up one day and you say, you know what, I really don't want to do it today. That's where we push through. Like that's the indication. You're like, you have to think to yourself, okay, like I knew this was going to happen, right? I knew like one day I was going to wake up and not feel like I want to do it. That's the trigger for me to double down and say, yes, this is when now this is growth, right? And that happens with everything. If you're exercising and you want to quit, now is when the growth is happening, right? when I'm doing my work and I feel like I'm 95% finished and I'm almost done and I just want to quit and I don't want to follow through. Now is when the growth happens. Now is when I learn to finish. Now is when I learn to push it another 5 or 10 minutes. Now is when I learn to do just a little bit more, and that's when we really grow. So, you're excited, you're starting, you're going with it. Understand that in a couple of weeks, you're going to get to this point where you go, eh, that's when you go. And what's going to happen is that in a couple of months, you're going to think to yourself, I wonder if this really worked for me. And then you're going to look back at your first couple of entries and see what you were writing about and what your journal says and the things that you were focusing on. And you'll realize how much different life is. And I have the luxury of looking back a couple of years ago. In our move, I was packing up some of my old pages and looking at those and thinking to myself, man, I came really far since then, mentally in my relationships and in my work ethic and goals. I mean, my goals have changed. So many things I'm reading that would never be a goal for me now, but my perspective has changed. I didn't understand exactly what I should be doing and what I should not be doing in my own life. And it took time. It took me analyzing that every day to figure that out. But once I did, I went down a path a couple of times that was just like wrong. Some of them were very little investment, and I just realized like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. But other ones were big investments. Like just I go down a path that I committed to something for months, and I'm halfway through it going, man, I should never have done this. It's taking my attention away from my family, from my work, from all of this stuff. And you kind of resent it, but at the same time, you have to think, well, I'm learning something from it and I'm going to follow through on it. But then after this, I'm never going to do this again. And that takes a lot of time and understanding. It takes this constant looking back on where you're placing your time and attention and understanding like what was valuable and what's something that you shouldn't engage in again. So, you know, it's an experience. It can be a roller coaster once in a while, but it's fun. Raccoons love corn. That's funny. I didn't realize that. We have a ton of raccoons at my old house too. I don't know if we have them here, but Lynn last month was walking outside, walked around the corner, and there's a raccoon hanging on the side of our house. And I've seen them a lot of times going down into the sewer or the storm drain. So yeah, they might have eaten them too. Dude, that house as close to the city as that house was. We had bats, raccoons, possums, skunks. I saw a skunk walking in my yard last year. Turkeys. We have a million turkeys, like 20 turkeys in our yard. We had all sorts of things, and it was literally like the city line was literally like 2 blocks away, not even a half a mile. Laurie says her year's worth of Define My Day came yesterday, and she's so excited. Thank you for your buying your Define My Year. That's awesome. I bought my first one 2 Christmases ago as a present for myself and put it away and forgot about it. It happens, I know. I found it last Christmas and started using it, and now I'm sad I lost a year of using it. It's been so very helpful along with your videos. Thank you. You're welcome, Lori. Thank you. And I know, so that year you lost. I feel like that. I look back on that on myself. Like I feel like I've lost decades of my life for lack of focus and lack of understanding and lack of trying. Like it was just, I mean, my teens, 20s, and parts of my 30s, I wasted a lot of time being miserable, being unfocused, being undisciplined. And I'm certainly not perfect now, but I know that feeling that you're talking about. And, the only thing we can do is look at that and say, that gave me perspective. It gave me the motivation to change now. And I'm going to change for the best and for the better because of that experience. So I'm sorry you lost a year, but I am so happy that you are where you are now. And where you're going to go for the next year is going to be amazing. Very cool. I don't know if anybody else has this. I have the COVID-19, but the 19 means 19 pounds. So, yeah, it's like the freshman 15, right? We have the COVID-19 pounds. Yeah, so that happened to me. So when this first started, I lost a ton of weight in a couple of weeks, but it started to creep back. So that's why we are focusing on getting more active. The process of moving in itself has been very positive in my physical activity levels, and I'll be doing a lot of outside yard work. But we're also going to have to make a time to. I need to do more stretching, like my joints and stuff. I'm just so inflexible right now, so I have to combat those pounds. Also, I haven't stepped on the scale in a month. I'm afraid to do it. I know how my clothes are fitting right now. Yeah, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. We need to get back on it. A lot more fresh fruits and vegetables. I mentioned that earlier this week. I haven't been stopping myself from eating things. I haven't been restricting myself, but I have been trying to pile on the vegetables and fruits, just trying to balance out, what I'm getting, and then we'll start pulling back on garbage. DMD is helping me rebuild my life. Wow, that's a strong statement there already. So it's wow. My industry disappeared with COVID-19 since I'm a public speaker and work with large groups of 60 to 80-year-old women who won't be gathering again for years. I'm reinventing my job and my life, getting used to being home after 14 years of living on the road. I used to live with my phone next to me. Now I live with my Define My Day journal next to me. Thank you. I'm sorry that that's happened, but your ability to adapt is awesome. And the fact that we're a small part of that is amazing. Thank you for that. I'd love to hear what you're doing or what you were speaking about. Message if you don't want to comment here, like what your topics were. If you don't want to comment here, send us a private message. I'd love to hear, what your topics were that you were speaking to people. And I'd like to see what you're doing now, like how you're changing things going forward. But I understand, I can see how that's going to change for you because a lot of these people are going to be afraid to get out. It's going to be a struggle in opening the economy in general. I think a lot of people, whether we're allowed or not allowed, a lot of people are going to be hesitant to get out, and it's going to be hard for a lot of people. Even workers are not going to want to go back to their offices. Things are changing, and how we deal with it is very important. How resilient we are is very important. Yeah, let me know. Let me know what you got going on there. It does. It does create real insights, right? I'm still learning things now. It's the more you do it, the more you look back and think to look at yourself a couple of months or a couple of years ago and say, wow, I had a lot of serious blind spots. I was not understanding why I was acting in a certain way, or why I had a certain thought pattern, or why my relationships were built in a certain way. And even now, like I say things, I said something yesterday and I'm looking back, I'm like, man, are you stupid? That was a stupid thing to say. But it's just having that awareness and just realizing, okay, like your instinct, your training, the way you were, formed for 35, 40 years, 50 years, you just have these instincts, these pathways in your brain that are going to make you say or do something that's probably not in your best interest. And you got to short circuit that and create a new pattern. And even now, I'm doing and saying things, and I'm going, man, no, you got to stop that. And just writing it down and saying, like, no, like you got to have to kind of like rewire yourself and say, no, that has to change. It has to change, or you're going to continue to experience these negative results unless you change that. So raccoons know exactly when corn is ready. Absolute worst. Wonder if they can smell it. Wonder if they're just like walking around one day and going, "Yeah, corn's ready." Um, or why you weren't getting the important things done. Yep. A lot of people. It's funny. Like people are motivated and people have time and people do things, but it's funny. Like when we know we have something really important to do, a lot of times we find so many creative ways to not do that thing. I see it myself. I see it in others. And it's not that it's hard. It's just it's that we know we're supposed to do it, so we just naturally don't do it, right? And then when we finally do it at the last minute, we think to ourselves, or we should think to ourselves, that wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Why didn't I just do it earlier and get it off my mind and stop thinking about it? It's weird. I can see it, especially in other people when they have this one thing that needs to get done. They find creative things to do throughout the day, and they just wait till the last minute to get that one thing done. And I'm like, why? But it's natural. I don't know why, but people are built that way to avoid the one thing that needs to get done. And if you continue to do that and don't repair that, it has a negative impact because other things come up. If you wait to the last minute to do the really important things, other things come up. You get sidetracked, emergencies happen, and then you wasted all the time doing busy work. And then the one really important thing that didn't happen gets kicked down the road. And that's just a bad cycle to get into. I'm a high school teacher and an athletic trainer. I have a feeling schools are not starting in the classroom this fall. Neither are athletics. My business, which is based on athletics, is currently no longer, and if it does come back, it will definitely be different. Yeah, yeah, and I've seen a lot of trainers do online videos. There's a YouTube person that I follow that's been doing more online, just trying to walk people through things in her living room. I have a cousin that's like a weightlifter trainer, and he's been doing more online. Um, and it's going to be different. And I have a feeling schools aren't going to start this fall either. I think people are going to be very scared to send their kids into a classroom, even if the kids aren't susceptible. They're going to be afraid about bringing it home. You get that many people that kids aren't going to follow guidelines. It's going to be really hard. They want to be together. They want to be close, and so it's going to be difficult to get that rolling. So school might not be together, and there's a lot of industries that depend on that. So yeah, it's about being creative. Um, it's going to be hard though. It's definitely going to be hard. I travel the world teaching, quitting full time in quilt shows and conferences. I'm sorry, I said quitting quilting. I travel the world teaching quilting full time at quilt shows and conferences. I'm now filming classes in my studio and trying to find an online audience. It's a fun challenge. I'm grateful to have a corporate husband so we aren't in the peril from the loss of income. Yeah, that's good that you have that safety net there. But that's pretty cool. Trying to find an online audience. So, will you be putting that on YouTube? Are you going to have a website? Is that on Facebook, Etsy? Like, how do you get out there? That's probably a big Pinterest market, I bet. Um, but yeah, I could see how that would really work online. And you could even do like a learning platform where you do like a pay for course to go through that. That'd be pretty cool. Personal training and athletic training. Athletic trainers are healthcare professionals. We are the professionals who take care of injured athletes on the field. Gotcha. So then, you really can't be in personal contact, right? Because you're going to be, you can't do that. I gotcha. Yeah. And so it's still kind of the same. Like a lot of these people can't get to the people that they deal with on a in that personal space. So yeah, it's not easy. Not easy. Um, Angel says, I really hope that if schools do not open up this fall, that they do a much better curriculum at my daughter's school. If not, I might move her to an actual online school. And so there's your challenge, right? So a lot of people don't understand yet. They haven't adapted how to do it. And a lot of these teachers are just figuring it out. And we've seen it in our kids, like there's a lot more support that's needed from the parents in the house who have forgotten a lot of the things that their kids are learning. And so, um, it's It's hard because for me, the biggest benefit to my kids that I saw was that camaraderie with the other kids, whether it was on a Zoom class or just seeing their teacher and that familiar face and that comfort level. But there's a learning factor there that's going to be hard for a lot of kids. And so the online the I don't. It's funny because I'm going to say the traditional online schools were basically non-traditional before this happened, but the established, we'll say, online schools are going to be well ahead of school districts that have never done this before, that aren't experienced with it. So it's weird how the tables have sort of turned in that regard. I'm on a website, I have a class platform on YouTube, Facebook, etc. Facebook is really the place for quilters, so most of my work is there on my business page. Very, very cool. Good for you. Very good for you. Share your page in the comments. I'd like to see. What you got going on there. All right, everybody. I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna get going. I have a lot of things to do outside before that thunderstorm happens today. I want to try to get my kids' basketball hoop set up and do some stuff, um, and get rolling. So everybody, have a great day. Have a great Sunday. I wish you the best. Stay happy. Stay healthy. Keep moving forward, and I will talk to you again tomorrow morning. Take care.